Who knows?
All right, good evening and welcome everybody to the Village of Webberville Council meeting. Today is June 22nd, 2026. We'll kick things off here with a roll call.
McEwen absent, Schulborn.
Here.
Stanfield.
Here.
Walter absent, Schulte.
Here. Warren. Here.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Is there an approval for this evening's agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second?
Seconded, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, brings us to public comments, session 1 already at 6:01. So if there's any public comment. Seeing none, so we'll close public comments. I have no comments. Brings us to the consent agenda, which is the minutes from council meeting June 9th, the accounts payable, revenue, expenditure reports, and balance sheet. Any questions on those? Not, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second?
Seconded, roll call.
Schulborn.
Yes.
Stanfield.
Yes.
Schulte.
Yes. Okay, moving on to the reports. Attorney report is absent. So engineer report, Bruce.
Okay, last time we talked about the drain commissioner TVing the sewer pipe in the north lot, and that happened, and they reported back and gave us the video to look at. And the thought was that maybe there was some break in the storm sewer that was causing the problems in the north lot with the soft grade. And what they found was that there wasn't a problem in that location, but further out towards in Main Street, about 8 feet away from where it ties into the next pipe, there was a data line that had bored through the pipe. So they think that needs to be fixed. Since we just redid Grand River a couple years ago, I'm pressing for them to use some kind of a lining method rather than trying to dig it up and fix it. And so that's what we're going to push for. That uses steam or hot water in order to cure the lining. The data line people don't like it because it can melt their pipe, but they're going to have to move their line anyway. So that's what I'm pushing for on that. And then with respect to the problems that we're having in the parking lot, we've let that set for a month or so. It is firmer. We've met the contractor out there, and most of the areas are somewhat firmer. There are those 2 problem areas that we identified, and what I'm recommending is that we cut those out and put in at least 12 inches of gravel and a geogrid, and then put the paving back on top. Now, after we do that, we have some options. We can let it set like it is a little longer. We could wait until August to put the top course on, or we could wait till the next construction season, if we wanted to have it set there and see if any other bad spots come up. Or we could pave it right away. Reeve Riley is committed, if we do go that route and we pave it right away, if something else happens, then, they'll come out and fix that. They agreed to pay the cost of the asphalt on the patches and also provide the geogrid. The cost, if we replaced 2 10 by 10 foot areas, the cost for the digging out of the gravel and putting it back in would be about $2,000.
And they're covering that.
What's that?
And they're going to cover that.
They wouldn't cover that part. They would cover the asphalt pavement and the geogrid. Now, there was some question too about, whether or not those areas were within that island that got dug out and replaced. And so I went out and I painted a couple of dash marks on the pavement where the island was. And the two bad spots seem to be on the very margin of where the west edge of that area was. So I don't know why those two areas in particular. You maybe speculate that the water cooled up against those areas for a while until they got the curb out of there. Or like you were pointing out, there may have been a foundation there at some point. But really the rest of that island area was pretty firm. And we had a PEA inspector watching what they were doing while they were digging out and filling that island in. And he said everything was on the up and up. They did a good job on it.
So you said it's two separate 10 by 10 areas that would need to be addressed?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the other thing is, for him to get in there and do that work, he'll have some pretty heavy equipment out there. And if there are any other bad spots, then that heavy equipment will help us identify those too, right?
Right. Okay. So I guess you need direction from the council sooner rather than later as to whether or not to spend the $2,000 to fix that and then proceed with the top coat.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we do that, Ryan, do you have any thoughts or concerns about not doing the top coat this year, being that we would have to salt and do snow removal?
There's only one structure in the parking lot that I really have to worry about. That's that catch basin on the east. If we could actually just use the cold patch and kind of ramp up, make a ramp. If we wanted to let it sit all winter. Or, I mean, it's 6 of one, half does the other, really. If we wait until August, September, while it's still warm out, I hate to see us do a top coat, too late in the year. But like Bruce stated, we'll have some heavy equipment in there, so we can roof roll the whole parking lot again. If they don't have a heavy enough truck, I do. I can bring our backer out there fully loaded with water, and that will show immediately any spots.
Right.
So, if we wanted to let it sit, it won't hurt me this winter at all. I can make do with that.
I mean, it doesn't, I guess anything can happen, but it doesn't seem like things are getting worse with time. They're only improving as that cures, so I'm a little.
I'd say evaluate in August, maybe.
Right.
Yeah. Get it repaired definitely now. And then we'll keep an eye on it. Because the base coat's fine. You can drive on it, it's smooth, it's still painted.
Right.
Parking lot's fully functional. It's just, I think we need to get those spots fixed.
Right.
So, and if they're willing to cover the cost of, the materials basically. I mean, we're $2,000 in, gas, not pleasant, but it could be a whole lot worse.
Yeah. When would you need an answer by, Bruce?
I think he's planning on being in town here next Tuesday, did you say?
Possibly tomorrow, because we have 4 valves out that they still have to expose. So they're hoping to have a decision tonight. That way they can mobilize and do everything at once.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
that was their hope.
All right, well, what do you guys think?
I feel that,
I'd rather have it
yes, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
get it done
If
Okay.
they're-
before it gets worse.
Yeah.
Or,
Right.
more damage.
Let's,
Especially school being out.
let's finish out reports so we can get on to new business and we can vote on it. But I guess Bruce, anything else to go to the parking lot, Summit Street, Summit Lot,
You were asking about the handicap spot that was out front.
right?
And the reason that we took that away was because with a handicap spot, you have to have number one, a loading zone that's 5 feet wide. Number two, you have to have an accessible route. And that ramp that's out there is too steep to be considered accessible. So we wouldn't want to have a parking spot there and imply that ramp is accessible, have somebody use it and then get hurt on it, you know what I mean?
Right.
And, it wouldn't be practical, I don't think, to have a loading zone another 5 feet out into the street next to that spot. So we've got a couple of spots across the street, and we've got a couple of spots up near the Mills.
We'll pull the sign down that's out there, and we can wire peel the curb to get all remnants of the paint that are, on that curb head. That way it just goes away.
Gotcha.
There's some need by the pharmacy too.
Yeah, I can't remember if that's still a handicap spot over there by the pharmacy or not. I can't, anywhere there's no handicap spot that used to be, we'll remove the paint from that.
Yeah. Did you get quotes for curb painting?
Not yet. Because I was waiting to see what came out of that.
Gotcha.
I do have the company that they use for basically all their jobs. I was gonna call them. And I was gonna touch base with you, because I can't remember who we used last year that did some of the work. So that's on my agenda to do now that nice weather's here for certain.
Appreciate that, Bruce. Any other updates with projects going on? I know there's a lot.
I need to catch up with Josh Rocky on where we sit with Summit Street lot. I think we're considering doing some undercutting and stabilizing of that lot as well. And he's got prices from the contractor. I just haven't heard that he's approved that yet or not. So they've kind of pulled off site.
I think the DDA approved that.
If that's for the parking lot deal for dealership, we approved it the other night.
Oh,
Yeah,
We went less route, which made more sense because it was just as stable. Geomesh.
very much, yeah.
Yeah.
It was like 28,000, I think it was, something like that. So it was the less expensive of the two options I went with.
Yeah.
So it wasn't.
Okay, good. Don't have more problems in that lot.
Right. But all that basin, that's dug out, it's just matter of stabilizing it and go.
Yeah. Curb would be next. I don't know when they're planning on doing Summit Street. Summit Street's gonna be a reconstruct from Grand River to the alley.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get down to base there too, and we'll check that out and see what we need to do, if anything.
And are we just top coating from the alley to Cherry?
Mill and fill, yeah.
Fill there, okay.
And I told them to please wait until it looks like it was gonna be dry for a good week before he opened that up, you know what I mean?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
All right. Any questions for engineering report? Well, appreciate it, Bruce.
Yeah.
Not seeing any advocate reports. That brings us to new business. We'll kind of shoehorn this in here. It just came up with engineer report, but recommend that we approve Reed Riley up to $2,000 to repair the soft spots in North Main Street parking lot.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Schoenberg,
Yes.
Stanfield,
Yes.
Schulte.
Yes.
Awesome.
All right, so first item of new business is the water rate study presentation. So just as a reminder to everybody, we do this on an annual basis or when requested. We just, I say we, it's really Joe from Michigan Rural Water Association.
Staff does help, I can't do it without staff.
Actually, paint the.
So I'll let you kind of kick off, kind of the high level overview of what you did.
All right, it's my understanding you guys have the printed out packets?
Yeah.
Okay, so, I got the sewer up first, so we'll start with the sewer. And it's gonna start, probably, should be page 6, I believe, in the packet.
It's back a few pages. That looks like this.
Yeah, out of the top, you should see like current charges, rate class 1, and then there's a rate class 2. There'll be 2 little tables, and it should be page 6, I believe.
Yep.
All right, no big changes here from the last one. I think you guys added a couple more customers, but it wasn't nothing earth shattering, like in the way of number of customers, positive or negative. So not too much of a change there. Moving on to the next page, just bring up your meter equivalents, which is how the base charge for the bigger meters are established is, kind of pretty much right there in line with the AWWA standard, or for size, not AWWA standard, but the size equivalent. So there's not really, and wasn't any change from what the current meter equivalents are, at least not in your guys' packet. So no big changes there. Next page, so we're gonna go to page 8, units of water invoiced. This did go down from last year. So one of these, the overall increase for both, it's a 3% increase for water and 3% increase for sewer. And a lot of, part of that 3% was, there was less water sold last year than there was previous. So in 24-25 fiscal year is 42,000, or 42 million gallons throughout the year. Last year was only 38 million. So selling less water brings less revenue in. So that's part of that 3% increase that you guys will see at the end here. Not a crazy change from what years previous to that had been, but we thought with looking at past history, we were seeing kind of an increase during the last presentation last year, and now this year, then it dropped. So part of that is going to affect, anytime you're selling less water, you're going to have a little bit higher of an increase because of that. The more water you sell, the cheaper your rates can be overall, for the most part. Looking at your current bank balance, you guys have a pretty healthy fund balance in the water fund, or no, in the sewer fund. However, it's still, as you guys will see in the next couple of pages as we get into this, for equipment replacement and capital improvement projects, even with a pretty healthy fund balance, it's not enough to cover 100% of all the costs of the projects over the next 20 years. So you're still going to be putting kind of a healthy amount aside. That fund balance should still continue to keep climbing, barring any big expenses you guys might have in the sewer side of things, in the next couple of years. But again, it's still not going to be enough to fully fund all of the projects you guys got scheduled out for the next 20 years. But you're on the right track, you're putting money aside, you're increasing that fund balance, which just means when that big expense does pop up, you're not going to have to bond out nearly as much for revenue as you would have if you weren't putting that money aside and trying to build that fund balance up. So that should make it a lot less of a burden when you do have to do a major project, when you have to get a loan. It'll be a fraction of what the overall total cost will be, because you guys are going to be able to self-fund a number of your guys' projects. So that just overall will help keeps the interest rates low. I mean, even the municipal loans are very low interest rates, but I mean, you gotta get a loan for $2 million. It's still a lot of interest even at 2%. So, kind of self-funding is definitely gonna help you in that standpoint. Plus, if anything unforeseen happens, you've got the money, set aside completely for that might pop up. I apologize. I've been teaching all day long, so the voice is starting to get a little worn out after talking for 6 hours straight earlier today. All right, next page is my checks and balances page. That's after I get the number of customers water invoiced into the program spits out, hey, they should have collected X amount of revenue. In this case, program saying you should have generated about $560,000, and your last year's actual revenue was right in line with that. You're like a couple thousand off. Basically, it just means I get good data. So unlike when the first rate study I did, now the data I'm getting on the utility billing system is right on track. I've got good data. Everything matches what the rate program says, which is it's a good thing. Because it's just one big giant math problem, this whole Excel spreadsheet that I use. But if, like everything, if I put garbage in, it's gonna give me a garbage answer at the end. So this checks and balances page means we got really good data and keeping everything right on track, and the end result will be better because of that, because of the good data I'm getting. Next page is your expenses. This isn't really much different than what your approved budget is. And again, it might be a little bit off from what you guys the approved budget, because I take out any big one-time expenses. So Brian needed $50,000 for a new lift station pump. that's removed out of this page because it's taken into account elsewhere. So if it looks a little different than what you're kind of thinking, or like, well, that's less than what I know the budget is, that's because we removed that stuff because it's taken in other places in the rate program, and I don't want to double dip. So you've got basically a normal annual expense of about $280,000 you gotta cover, and then the rest of the reserves pay for equipment replacement and capital improvement projects. You guys got a number of coming out over the next 5, 10, and 20 years. Next page, non-sales income. Decision again was made, as in years past, not to use any non-sales revenue to help kind of subsidize the rates and keep them lower, because you don't really have any guaranteed revenue from one year to the next that you're guaranteed as non-sales revenue. So any non-sales revenue collected is just more money going into the bank, into the reserves to pay for capital improvement projects and equipment replacement. All right, let's see what we got here. No loans on the sewer side. So you guys will have that in your packet. I'm about to lose track of page numbers. So the next page would be equipment replacement, which is a big list. In this case, to start with the lift stations. Again, this is to kind of set that reserve funding and help set that reserve funding. So there's enough money set aside in the bank. So when that pump needs to be replaced, there's money there to pay for it. The only thing in this program I did is Ryan and I went through the list, updated anything that had been replaced since the last rate study. And then last year I didn't increase the prices for 2024. So this time I added a 3% increase to the cost for the 25, and then this year's inflationary cost increase to the prices. That's all I did, which leads to that. With the money you guys have in the bank, $10,000 coming from rates to go into that kind of equipment fund to pay for the replacement of all the sewer equipment that's in the system right now. Next page is that capital improvement summary. This is that list of all the big long-term investment projects that be sewer main replacements, total lift station rehabs and replacements, things like that. Some lagoon work that needs to be done periodically. Again, a whole list of equipment in there with their estimated today's costs. And in this case, this is where if you look at the running balance, the next page, you guys are funding this pretty well. You've got quite a bit in the bank that's already front loaded into that account. That's at 1.8 million sitting at the top. And then funding through rates of the 273,000, which is a substantial amount coming from rates. But again, if you scroll down, if you look down at the bottom of that page, in the next 20 years, you've got estimated projects that are still going to leave you almost $2 million short to complete. So if you kept on this track or didn't increase the capital improvement funding at all, you'd still be on the hook for almost $2 million. You'd have to fund either through a grant or a loan or some combination of the two. So again, even though you're putting a lot of money aside, you're building that fund balance up, it's still not 100% funding any of the projects that are, the whole number of projects that you guys have going out in front of you. With that, that's that final analysis page, just shows a 3% increase to the ready to serve in the commodity. So, which turns out to 91 cents per month on the ready to serve and 25 cents per 1,000 gallons of sewer used as an increase is what the brokerage recommends. So, and last year's decision, there was no rate increase last year, correct? If I remember right. So again, we're going 2 years with no increase and then still being able to do just a small 3% increase and still have good funding in the reserve accounts or anything. They're in pretty good shape when it comes to water and sewer rates. So much different than the first one I did a few years back. So. And again, I'm not here to tell you you have to raise rates 3%. It's totally your decision. Just here to show you the numbers that are in the program there. Any questions on the sewer? All right, the water, we'll go a little quicker through the water. Same program, same sheets. Again, not really any change in customers whatsoever. There was less water sold on the water side, same as there was in the sewer. But they kind of go hand in hand with that though, which led to a little, that's part of that 3% increase. Part of it is just the cost of everything going up a little bit. Again, no earth-shattering changes on the expenses or anything. Less money in the water fund, but you guys have just recently done some water projects that you were able to pay for, with those reserve fund. That's what they're put away for. So you can have as much money as you want and sit in the savings, as long as you can justify, hey, this money's gonna be spent on these projects coming up in the next 20 years. Again, you guys were able to self-fund quite a bit and keep your costs a little bit lower and no interest charges and stuff. Let's see. Again, no non-sales income used to offset rates, but again, there's no guaranteed non-sales revenue anywhere in that mix. No water loans, and again, part of that, no loans that you guys have on there is because you're putting money aside and able to self-fund a lot of these projects, which is it's a good thing. I've seen what the interest payments are on $5 million loans. They're still pretty hefty. It's still tens of thousands of dollars a year. So, same thing, equipment side, the equipment replacement section. Again, went through Ryan, updated anything that's been replaced, added a 3% increase to the cost over the last 2 years for inflation to set that amount. Not any, like I said, no real big changes there. Same thing with the capital improvement summary. Still funding quite a bit. There's 300,000. The water fund doesn't have as much money in it, so 300,000 front loaded into that. The 173,000 a year going into reserves. And again, that's self-funding a lot. It's building the fund balance up. But in the next 20 years, there's almost $8 million of projects over the next 20 years. You're still gonna be 4.4 million short if everything goes as expected. So as good as the funding amounts are and progress you guys have made over the last few years, you're still gonna have to get some loans and grants occasionally to give you that extra bump. But you'll be self-funding quite a large chunk of it. Which again leads that final analysis paid to a 3% increase across the board, 3% to the rate of serve. So it's just on the water side, it's 99 cents per month for a 3/4 inch customer and 20 cents per 1,000 gallons on the commodity charge. So increase there. We got 3%, it's pretty much right on track. And I talked to, I'm not here to give you financial advice. So you talk to accounts, financial planners, it's a good idea to keep raising rates. But again, you guys are in really good shape. If no rate increase last year and 3% is still going to keep you kind of right on track and keep your funding levels what they have been the last few years.
Yeah, so I mean, even just doing the math on it for an average residential home, 3/4 inch meter size, say between 4,000 and 6,000 gallons a month, that's a little over $4, somewhere between $3 and $4 a month is what the 3% would be, which is modest compared to what we've done in the past.
Yes, yeah. And really the whole trick with that is to kind of stay on track with that. But I've done plenty of rate studies where they've gone 10 years and it's a 30, 35% increase, 40% increase. It's like, if you've done 3% a year, you pretty much be at the same spot. You just be doing it a little bit every year. And instead now you got to throw, a very large increase, which I think is, well, part of what happened the first time I came here to do a rate study for you guys. And again, I've seen usually the communities that are doing the small 2, 3, 4% every year stay right on track, and unless something drastically changes, like you got to get a loan or something like that, that should keep you right on track to keep putting some money away and making sure everything's paid for and still building that fund balance to pay for projects. So,
Right.
any other questions or anything on there? I think for the most part, it's not the first time you guys have heard this presentation on the rates. Good.
Appreciate the work you put into it, Joe.
Yeah, no problem.
I know the council's got some discussion and decisions ahead of us, but I hope you maybe stick around for at least a couple minutes in case you have more questions.
Yeah, because I saw there's a lot, so yeah, during the discussion, yeah, if you guys got any further questions or anything comes up, I'll sit back there until the rate discussion's all done, or before I take off.
Appreciate it.
Not a problem.
So, I guess first and foremost, we're down 2 members tonight. I think it's pretty clear, based on previous years, and this isn't our first go around with rate increases, that it's better to stay on track, but missing input from 2 people whose opinions I do respect. I'm a little hesitant to put it forward to a vote tonight, but I think between the 3 of us, if it's something we feel strongly needs to be done, we candidate vote. So I'm just gonna put that out there that this is a pretty big decision that, water's come under scrutiny a lot lately from the community. And I think it may be helpful for the residents to hear what the board as a whole has to say about this.
I have no issue with it being tabled. I think it would be a wise decision to table it, to have the whole board present. Also, nobody is here from, the community tonight, but tabling it for the next meeting would give the community a chance to show up and voice any input they would like to.
I mean, at this point, the information is out there, it's been presented, so if anybody wants to review this meeting after it's been recorded, it's there. That's kind of where I'm at with it. But beyond that, I know Jessica did a great job putting together some resolutions to consider. So they are in the packet. I know one of the big things is to do with the penny policy, because pennies are no longer a thing. I think it's wise, even if we don't necessarily do the full 3% increase, that we at least round everything to the nearest nickel, so that way water billing, we don't have to worry about pennies anymore. That way it's less of an issue with, when people want to pay their bills in cash, that we come up with pennies. So both resolutions are great.
There's two resolutions, one just shows the current rates.
Yeah. Okay. So, any more discussion or input?
Everybody can look at that again. Mull it over.
So if they can get a chance to read it over, this will give them more time to read it over.
So, just so it's on record, I recommend that we motion, or that we table the resolution 2026-09 village water rate and sewer rates.
So
Until next meeting.
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
You guys should table the vote, but if you want me to come back for the next meeting, Jessica, just shoot me an email with the date and time, and as long as it works in my schedule. Most of the time meetings do. I'd be more than happy to come back to the next meeting or whenever the vote you think is gonna happen, in case there's any other questions or.
Yeah, if it works for your schedule and you don't mind, I'm sure our two other council members would appreciate it. And
Yeah.
if anybody else from the public shows up with questions, it may be helpful too.
July 14th.
Huh?
July 14th.
Oh.
All right, thank you. Next is the Time Michigan Teal. So this is, I don't know how many years running now at this point, but this is the month-long event in September for where do I spell that? Oops. Got it. So this is in memory of a local resident, Janet Hines. This is for, what is the organization again? Time Michigan Teal, but it's for
Ovarian cancer.
ovarian cancer. Thank you. Any questions? I recommend that we approve the Time Michigan Teal event in 2026.
So
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, next is resolution 2026-14. This is adopting rules of procedure. So this was proposed to the council a number of meetings ago. And this was this approved pending review of Scott?
I think you guys had Scott approve or review it, and then you guys were going to approve it.
Yeah, so Scott reviewed it. I know there was only a couple of points from him that he pointed out to me, which were just really points of clarification. But overall, I would say he was satisfied and didn't have any major changes. So this is just really a resolution that would formally adopt village council rules of procedure and governance bylaws, really spelling out kind of roles, responsibilities, legal hierarchy, village president duties, pro tem duties, meetings. We've all had this information. This is another one that we can wait for a full council, or if we want to approve it tonight.
We discussed it.
Yeah, we've all talked about it.
Okay. Well, I recommend that we approve resolution 2026-14, adopting rules of procedure.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Shelburne,
Yes.
Stanfield,
Yes.
Schultz.
Yes. All right. Brings us to last item of new business, which is rental inspections. So this came up as a result of switching from McKenna to Livingston County Building Department for, let's say, at least 10 years now. McKenna was providing annual or semi-annual inspections to residential rental units in town. Just a very general, high-level safety inspection. Inspections have been done, fire alarms, things of that nature. Being that we are going to no longer be contracted with McKenna, and Livingston County does not provide this type of service, it's highlighted the fact that the council needs to make some sort of decision as to whether or not we want to continue doing those rental inspections. If we do, who would be the service provider of those? I'm sure we could probably get that through McKenna, through some sort of modified contract. I don't know how that would work. Or we could just forego the rental inspections altogether. I mean, historically, these rental inspections have not highlighted or uncovered anything in recent years that has deemed a rental unit uninhabitable or issues that have needed to be addressed with the landlord. Again, these are very basic, limited, high-level things of a checklist that doesn't necessarily say anything about the quality, that you have to have the nicest of appliances or new floors. It's basics. So it's out there as a discussion item and something to consider. We technically still have McKenna's building services until we complete the transition to Livingston County. I believe, Jessica, you said a number of rental inspections have come due.
Yeah, they just did 2 of them today, actually.
Okay. Yeah. Thoughts?
I think that rental inspections are important. It protects the tenant. However, I do know that there is, I believe it's a tenant's
Tenants' rights.
tenant rights in, I believe it's Lansing.
Yep.
So that they could call them if they feel that their rights, have been violated.
Right.
And on certain safety standards, doesn't the fire marshal have some sort of
Yeah.
authority for inspections?
I mean, realistically, the village's authority to police any of these things is extraordinarily limited. I mean, there's plenty of protections provided by the county and the state to renters, that there's resources out there. And when we have had issues come up, it usually has turned out to be, it's ultimately a civil matter. It's a landlord-tenant dispute that the village has no bearing or say over.
Right. And that's why I said, the tenants have rights, just like a homeowner, but if you follow your checklist when you move in and you find anything that is wrong, your first step should always be to call your landlord.
Right.
And then if you're having problems, they're not going to call the village or whoever is doing the inspections. They can call Lansing and say, I'm having this problem, or East Lansing, wherever it's out of, and they would be able to help them.
Right. So I think it's really, yeah, I think it's really just out there as a discussion unless there's a strong desire to vote on it tonight. I mean, something has to be decided here probably in the next month or two as we transition away from McKenna. Do we want to table it?
So let's table it, and hear what Mike and Deb have to say about it.
Okay. I think it's a good idea.
Full vote.
It was really on the agenda as a discussion item anyway, so we don't need to officially table it.
We started to have more input.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fairly
More
important
voices.
decision, so. Brings us to the end of new business, and brings us to the second round of public comment. So, like we have one taker.
Most everybody knows me, Chaplain Dan Norton, member of the DDA. Kind of advantageous to me that this gentleman was here tonight talking about water, and I kind of came on the right night. We want to invite everybody down to a DDA meeting. Everybody, all the citizens, all the council members. We had 2 council members, 2 residents the last meeting, answered all the questions, went through everything, explained everything. The reason we want this is there's so much misinformation about the bond and about the Ford building. From the point that it's a $4 million bond that's 50 years. It's not. It's a 20-year bond. To the most absolutely ridiculous one that I heard today was that the reason the village is raising money, raising the water bills, is so that that money will go to the DDA to buy blinds for the Ford building. As a DDA member, I can tell you right now, we tabled the blinds. And the reason we did, we had our meeting here last week. We looked at it, we got the appraisal. Obviously, only one person has seen it. They knew it was too much money, but they can't say, no, we don't want it. They brought it up, but we all looked at it and we picked our jaws up off the table. We all went, table this needs to go away. We tabled it. We don't take money from the village. We don't do anything in that aspect. We help the village out every once in a while. We try to help the DPW out. We do the best we can. I think we're doing a good job. Downtown is the nicest it's looked in years. It's well kept by the DPW. The roads look great. And I've been here for 47 years. My wife has been here 57 years. I couldn't tell you the last time I saw so many businesses filled. This is the best our downtown Tippah district has been. And we have a new builder coming in and out of the industrial park. We're not here to hurt anybody. I want to clarify, no, Ford building isn't raising anybody in the village water bills taxes. That's money that comes in from the federal side. If we did not recoup it, goes to Lansing and we lose it. That's parking lots, roads, equipment. Village isn't gonna get it. Josh couldn't be here tonight. He asked me if I'd come down. No, I'm not an expert on it. But I do know what we're doing, how we're doing it. We're doing it legally. And we are not taking money and asking the village to raise the water bills to pay for a set of blinds. The blinds came in real high. A lot of people saw it and were upset, but that was just a bid. We didn't know, and we're not blind experts. I was shocked. I'm in the wrong business, I can tell you that. But please, if all people home, DPW, any of you guys, anybody wants to come out, council members, please come down to the meetings. The residents over here, Valana and Deb were there. We had 2 residents, we answered all the questions. Went through everything, went down the list, and they were extremely happy. They left, shook our hands, were happy as heck. One of the guys who started the DDA actually looked at me and goes, you know, I love the way you're operating. You guys are talking amongst yourselves. You're asking questions. You're not just saying yes because somebody else did. That's all I got. Thanks, folks. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dan. Any other public comment? No? Thank you. And I guess I'll just follow that up with one comment is maybe should have been said during the water rate study presentation, but just so everybody is as a reminder and is clear that legally water and sewer has to be self-funded. We can move money from the general fund to our water and sewer to cover shortfalls, but to do it in the reverse is 100% illegal. You cannot ask customers to pay their water bills to fund things other than water and sewer. We just cannot do that. So I don't know where this idea is coming from or how somebody got that in their mind, but just again, because we're talking about water rates, as a reminder, is this is a very siloed thing. Water and sewer, it's self-funded. So I have no other comments. Any other council comments before we adjourn? Not their motion to adjourn.
I'll make motion to adjourn at 6:46.
Second.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed? Okay, thank you, everybody.
See you tomorrow, 1.